Hello, everybody, and happy Friday. I'm extremely excited. I've got a new camera that works with my screen capture software. So you guys will be able to see my face through some of these videos now. Don't worry, I will keep it small and in the corner and out of the way whenever that's necessary. But it's important because sometimes I gesture with my hands, and I found that can be beneficial in explaining things. I'm a little awkward about how much of my bedroom you can see. But it's a work from home life, man. We're all living that COVID life. So I wanted to just embrace it and move on. So first up, let's go. You know what? Let's go through reverse alphabetical order today. Sorry, Aaron B. You almost always get up front. So let's talk about Mr. Bean here. So we've got this with the Dame Judi Dench reference. One of the things that I'm noticing right out of the gate is that this addition of like extra red on this side of his head, what we're seeing is that, like, if I look here, there is that warmth in here, but we're not, but that warmth kind of ends here at the, like, almost like the water's edge, the edge of her head. And what happens is it goes to like a more crisper, cleaner white. Where in this one, we've got this warmth in here, but then it does go to like an orange, but it would be nice to roll off that saturation a little bit and allow this to go more white, and then this to go a little bit less red. And you know what? I'm realizing that I'm reading it as being more red because of these eye reflections. These are a little bit cleaner, a little bit whiter. I would like for the eyes, for this reflection to go away, for the sclera, the increase in the level of the sclera, just go ahead and bump that up a little bit, and then keep like a nice cleaner eye ding on that side. And then for this side, you can increase the darkness a little bit, and then put like a softer ding. You can kind of see it in here, like she's got a nice crisp ding, and then like softer reflections on that side. Generally speaking, animated characters have lightly brighter eyes than live action stuff, just because we can, and so I would encourage you to do that. And so those would be my main notes. Let's see. And then, yeah, you were talking about the hair being different. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different because of the angle. That's fine. But let's see if we can get those colors in place. And also, just because this is lit over black, I would, doesn't necessarily have to be this background, but something very simple, very minimal. Throw that back behind him there. Throw it out of focus like that. And you'd be surprised at how much that actually helps the image, because lighting over black, can be deceiving, in that you for a couple reasons. One, if you have something going too dark, you don't always see the edge. But more importantly, when you surround an object with a dark surrounding, like if you take a photograph and you frame it with a dark frame, it'll make the image look lighter. So this dark surrounding will actually make the character look brighter, when in reality we may want to push his overall tones up brighter a little bit, like avoid that clipping out, but like the overall tones in him might need to go up a little bit. So that would be my advice there. So Pearl, we've got 3 submissions here from you. We've got 2 on the sushi front, and we'll start off with the poker puss. Again, loving all the foreground stuff, the soft fill you've got in there. It's just, again, like his the color feels a little, I don't know. Like, it just feels a little bit not kind of like that pure poppy red. And it's going to be it's a little bit, let's see if we can get this dialed in. It's also just like a little bit murky. I would almost, yeah, something more along. It's more of like, it's more cyan than it is pure blue. So it's really about getting those reds back in there. You see that? It's subtle, but it's really making like a punchy red color on this character. And I know that, like, with this heavy atmospheric, you want to infuse some of that, but I really do think that just having a crisper, cleaner red read on the character will really help. So I think something like more like this would be good. And that's pretty much it. I mean, everything else looks great. The scatter light looks great. The aerial perspective on the background is really beautiful. Just the colors are really nice. It's just a matter of getting the hero color of that character to pop a little bit more. All right, onto your sushi ones. This looks a lot better. One thing you want to watch out for in framing is you don't want to like cut into the characters with things like that. So I would take this guy and just shift it over there to the right. The other thing about it is like this area here in the middle is getting, it's a little weird just because it's like, it's somewhat translucent, but then not, and then it's kind of flat. So I would more want this inner core of that to get a little darker. But if we just shift that over to the side, that'll be fine. And that'll free up a little room here in the middle. Love the subsurface here on this. Love the like the individual shaping you're feeling like on each rice noodle. That's really, really nice. I want to see that get pushed into some of these other elements too. So we're getting some nice fall off on this character, but I do think that we can push some more specularity on him. But like this level of detail, I want to see it on the sushi too. I want some subsurface scattering in there. I want to feel it across the, I always call that like the Rambo headband there. And I want to feel it in some of these pieces. These pieces are feeling a little bit stiff and rigid, and like I don't get a good sense of what that texture is. Watch out for the depth of field on the wood here that they're sitting upon, because if you think about depth of field being a depth space thing, it's like anything that is them distance away from the camera. So anything like right immediately around them in depth space is going to be in focus. Everything after it and in front of that is going to be out of focus. So like the fact that that stuff is crisp down there is a weird read. The fact that this stick here in the foreground is clear is a weird read. And it's a weird read that they're crisp, but the thing that they're sitting directly upon is out of focus. So you just want to balance that into place a little bit. So let's start there, and then we'll go from there. And then for this shot, the other thing you want to do is you want to, like, these feel bright and they're diffusion around it, but I'm not getting a sense of a light source, right? I'm not getting a sense that there's a bulb in the middle or something, or maybe the whole thing is glowing. I really want to feel that a little bit stronger. Rest of the notes apply here. This is much better framing. I like that a lot. I like that this kind of wraps around. I do think that this can go a little darker to really kind of keep us focused in on the center there. But same notes on the characters. Again, Rice looks great. Mindy, welcome back. For this one, I think the exposure is too high. I feel like you've done a great job pushing the brightness, but I think, and again, this isn't going to look great because it's a JPEG and it's just kind of clipping off those whites. But I do think that we can pull down the overall exposure of the sunlight and also additionally add in some more overall warmth. Now, if you pull down the key light, that warmth may come in there. Just because it may already be there, it's just too bright to see it. And then same things as I was just saying to Pearl. Try and get some more detail in some of the shaders on like their headbands and the carrots and in the row in there and stuff. And then try and push some specularity into their sushi rolls as well. All right, next up we have Max. Max, yes, welcome. So we've got this image from the Power of Light course, very cool. So this is nice. Like you put this in as a reference from Soul. You're doing a good job of identifying the warm tones over the cooler background and how the warm tones on our two main characters are really tying us together. They also allow for a transition with these characters back here, but you can notice that the overall illumination is darker on them than it is on our heroes. So we really kind of want to play that up in what you're doing here. So that's you're doing it well. Warm tone over cool with the transition period. Color looks good. Feels about right. I would say that you could even try and mimic. I was gonna say maybe like make those a little brighter, like the light sources closer to being on camera. But you're probably right. That's probably good. My only thing is like this key value is pretty high. You don't really. I mean, even on like his mostly white shirt, you don't see it quite hitting that level. I think that especially, you see it in some small spaces, but you don't see it across this broad spectrum of it. So I would just tone that down a little bit. But other than that, I think you've got the point of this exercise and you're doing a really good job. It would just be, I think your next step would be translating this knowledge into some more robust characters. Because all I'm seeing and all I want to comment on is like the amount of detail and the specular highlights and the specularity on his jacket and that kind of stuff, and getting that in here. But I know that's not in this assignment, so I think I think you've established that you've got a good job here, and I think you're good to move on. Louise, this is a fun take on this character. I'm guessing this is, you know what? I'm guessing this is from maybe this is from Cars. I've been watching a lot of Cars with my son. He wants to watch it all the time. He's obsessed with it. And I don't remember this scene, which makes me feel strange somehow. Okay, but looking at this, you got the nice vignetting around the edge, the darkening in the middle, the focus on the characters. We've got the slashing lights of the blinds on the characters, which is like a classic film noir thing. We've got the desk lamp. We've got the diagonal lines on the ground. So with this one, I'm wondering if, and it's tough because you've got this light right here, but I'm wondering if you don't want to work in some of the, like somewhere in the scene, some slashing light coming through from the window there. The other thing, I guess mostly it's because like I'm not convinced that this light is shining on him because it's like it's pointed downward a little bit. So it's almost like that amount of light would be like bouncing off of a table up under him. So I would almost play it as more like underlighting. And then I would work in more like vignetting, and mostly because of the lenses that were used at the time were very, very common in film noir shots. Again, just because it's a lens artifact. And I think that you could work in some of that. Shaping's pretty good. Some more eye work that could be done. Like I said, the ding over there as opposed to these two dots there, but like we can get there. I'm wondering if we can't work a little depth of field into this as well. Like we're pretty close up to them. We got, and like we're focusing here. I'm wondering if like this couldn't also like these could be a little more out of focus, and we start to those blinds in the background start to be out of focus a little bit too. The other thing, and this happens, like this is a thing that's really frustrating to me, is when the teeth of a character are just like this mouth guard geometry, because it kind of breaks it for me a little bit. It makes it, and I don't know if it might be just a matter of pushing the teeth upward or something, but like I want to de-emphasize them a little bit because what it is we've got all this stubble on his face, which creates a complex shape, and then this is a very simple shape that stands out from it, and it kind of like I just zero in on it, and I want to not see his teeth. I want to focus more on the expression. And even if it's a still, you might be able to just like paint something in there, maybe just some teeth, but or posing it differently. Either way, I'm just trying to figure out a way to get that down. Let's keep playing with that. Let's work on the other stuff for now, and we can figure out a solution for the teeth. Yeah, but overall, I think this is a good setup. This is looking good. All right, Kevin, good updates. I like that you're isolating it to these windows and allowing for some dark areas to pop through. Yeah, and I'm right now I'm looking at the haze that's kind of around each one, and like within the haze you're getting some of these pockets, and I think that's great. I'm just wondering if we couldn't go a little darker as we go back along the house this way and really kind of keep the attention on the front, and also like maybe darken back behind her a little bit to get her to pop out a little more. And then if you can, let's squeeze a little light wrap around this tree from the moon, because that moon is big and bright. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, because this is looking really good. Nice update from the last iteration. Well done. Jeremy, a couple shots here from you. Welcome to the group. So I love this shot. And you did a really good job of breaking it down. It's a hero shot. He's in this hero pose. You did a great job mentioning how he is over top, like a cleared off background, so you get an entire read on his silhouette, and you're totally right. The other thing is the leading lines of this shot. Again, not necessarily a lighting thing, but something to consider when we're composing. Is you've got all these lines leading back here. It's like single point perspective coming across the image, and it really is leading to his gaze point as well. And it's all kind of centering around the sun. It's a very hopeful feeling shot. And I also want to point out his, and this is an interesting one. Because of his iconic like red and blue colors, they've allowed those to diminish a little bit, and so it's allowing him to really be a silhouette, which is cool, and just having some like subtle bits of rim light on them, which I think are really nice. There's often a tendency in CG to like to force the hand, and this is a really nice job of just allowing the lighting situation to dictate the look of the character. So that's really cool. But yeah, really good breakdown there. Now for this, we've got a superhero theme. I like it. So two things stood out to me right away when I looked at this. Number one, this level of brightness, especially here, is really kind of clipping out and not allowing us to get value. Like it isn't like in that same idea of reading the silhouette, it's impossible to read the silhouette edge between those 2 points. So that was number one. Number two is the hardness on the edge of these shadows. Like if I'm looking at the reference, he's in a cloud, and that's like, I don't think there's a more diffused shadow situation than being on a puff of moisture, I guess is what a cloud is. For sure. And then also, like, I guess, I don't know if this is a shadow or a reflection, just like diffusing that out a little bit as well. But I do like that and then additionally, if like this really feels like the light's coming from here. Like I feel on this side of his body and on that side of his shoulder. Like we're not seeing it on this side, we're not seeing it down here. This feels a little bit broader, and I would challenge you to tighten that up a little bit and just kind of keep it to like that quadrant of him. And then we can like have the shadows kind of kick out a little bit more. The shadows also feel like the light is coming from directly above, and really it should be back, like it should be back over here shining, and so the shadow should pitch forward. And and then within the hardness too, we've got kind of a double shadow thing that's happening on the ground, which doesn't normally happen with sunlit scenes because of the nature of the sun being the single light source and casting one shadow. So so I would start there, and then we'll go from there. And then of course the other thing would be, I was gonna say, like, it's cool the way that this red cape is pushing some red light in there, but we'll get there another time. I really just want to focus you in on those main points out of the gate. All right, Hannah. So we've got let's see, we got your night. Wait, let's see. Okay, Hannah. Yeah, these are your three different lighting situations. I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool what you're doing. I love your reference. So let's start with the nighttime one, because this one stood out to me. So in your nighttime one, like, I really love the color of this. So it's nighttime allows us a huge play on the type of night color that we determine. This is very crisp and clean and saturated blue with some, less saturated oranges, but definitely saturated. I think for yours in the darks are going more like neutral dark. I would challenge you to push more of that blue, that strong, crisp blue into your scene and see where that goes, and then allow the warmth of this light to really play off of that. Now, one thing I really like is the subsurface, or whatever you got going on in her hair here. The fact that we can kind of see that light kind of glowing through is really nice. I also think that you could potentially hit a little rim on the edge to help define her silhouette, and on her shoulders too, to kind of really play that up. I think that's where I'd go with this one. And then for these are so nice, just like beautiful, like, notice this like beautiful glow around the window. It's really lovely. So for that, like, let's take a look at those as the reference point for just outside the window. Like, we can kind of see, all we see is really just like a subtle silhouette, but in this one it's just like pure blown out. Now in this example, it's a little darker, and I think we can go brighter with it. This one's nice and blown. I think that one's good. But for this one, I think you can push this brighter, because the sky would definitely be brighter than this on an exterior scene around this time of day. It wouldn't be as bright as this one, but it would be brighter than this. I think this level, maybe that cloud level, should be what's over here, and then this side should be brighter. In terms of the lighting on this one, it's a great setup. I think that's working really well. The thing that I think her hair can go brighter. especially because I'm seeing it as bright as it is here, and as bright as it gets up here. I think that you can push the key side of this a little bit more. And I'm wondering if you can, I think you can push some more warm light on her back, maybe as a rim to get her to pop off a little bit. Because I see the light coming in here, but like this light would be bouncing up on her. It would be bouncing from all kinds of angles and really kind of just like, she would just kind of be basked in this warm light. And I'm not feeling that entirely. So I think you can push some more bounce in there, and I think you push a little bit more rim light on her as well. These areas look really nice. I like the specularity right in there. Yeah, and same thing back here. Maybe just like a little more bounce light pushing up from this region onto this wall and that door. Would be really good. And then as far as this one goes, this looks nice. I just think we can pull. I'm wondering if we can pull some of the haze off of this part of the image to get their contrast, the black points down a little bit more. It's just because like overall, overall, I'm not seeing any like darks, like anything like in that region. And I think even just making that subtle shift allows this stuff to be still hazy, while allowing the character to stand. So like just that little bit of extra darkening, I think, would help out a lot. I'm wondering if you can't get a very subtle reflection on the window because she's like touching it. It'd be nice if you could see like maybe a touch of that. It'd be tough with that amount of brightness. I'd have to double check reference to make sure that's even something that happens. But the other thing I wanted to say about all three of these is they have, and this could be intentional, but like these look like they have the opportunity for a lot of noise. So I'm not sure if those are, I'm sure those are by design, but I would just like those little dots, as an artist scare me, but that might get cleaned up with future iterations. So, a good job there. Oh, and also like watch the specularity in the sock there. My note there. All right, Donika. This is good. I think you can. I liked it better with the more saturation in the environment. I think we're losing some of the mood by not having that there. Yeah, but I mean, the shadow, the contact points are getting better. Those look good. Specularity looks better on all them. I would just say, yeah, let's use. You were doing a good job last time of using these light sources as an opportunity to really infuse some more color in the scene. And I would encourage you to continue doing that. I hope my comments about like getting the sushi back in line with like a natural sushi color didn't encourage you to change it too much, because I think you were really onto something good. So I would encourage you to go back to that iteration. All right, Dani. This is looking a lot better. I think you can soften this edge a little bit, but I think that lens flare looks really good. And this makes a lot more sense. I'm seeing the darkening on the foreground, and I think that really, really helps out a lot. And I'm wondering if we couldn't go further with it, like because these poles look a little flat in there. I would like to see it darker near us. The slide's looking a lot better. Yeah, I think this is coming along really well. I think we're just now at a point of really just adding that detail stuff. Like I said, darkening in there, and maybe reduce the amount of subsurface on that. That feels a little bit small. But then it'll just be a matter of keep going in and keep seeing how much dirt and grime we can kind of paint into this and really get that level of detail that we're looking for. Amy, welcome to the group. I'm very sorry that we did reverse order on you today and you had to wait all the way this time. But this is great. I think this is a really beautiful image. I haven't seen this one before, and it's really lovely. And the things, I mean, your breakdown of it was really good. But the thing that I'm thinking about is because this is a CG character and a CG effect, like there's some tricks they did to really to do some interesting things. Number one is that if you're thinking, like, think about this practically. If there's a light source here and a hand here and a face here, there would be some occlusion of shadow on her face, but we're not seeing that. We're seeing a nice, like, beautiful, well-shaped key light on this character, and that's because they snuck it around her hand because they didn't want a shadow being cast in her face, and that's totally legit. that's definitely something that we could do in CG. So this is an example of how the physical position of something would not be aesthetically the best for the scene, so they broke the laws of physics a little bit in order to get that look. The other one is that this kind of rim light here. So there's not really a lot in the scene that would justify that amount of rim light, but just getting that on the back of her there to help read her silhouette is pretty cool. And then the last thing I'll say is that, like, I'm not convinced that something that's this bright would cast that much illumination on her face, but it works, right? Because it's tying them together emotionally. It's creating a meld of color and value between this and her that allows them to feel connected. And I think that's really cool and something that's noteworthy. So again, welcome, Amy. We're excited to have you, and good job. All right, Aaron. This is good progress. I'm looking at this, and I'm wondering. Let me just play around with something. Again, I still think we can go a little bit of more light on the sushi character's face, but I'm looking at this. I'm wondering if we couldn't try and push these characters a little warmer. This may not work. Probably should have tested this before I started recording, but that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. I was thinking like, if I could get the rice to be a little warmer, that would be great. But it's fine. I think that actually doesn't work. Okay, so in terms of the rest of it, the whites on the characters look a lot better. Actually, this arm, and the legs are a little too purple. And I think that we can desaturate those and make sure that they're more like a nice, clean, crisp white. The cucumber looks a lot better. I would just encourage you to have some more subsurface to translucency or something, so we can kind of so that it feels a little thinner at the middle. The way that, because cucumber feels thick around the edge and then gets thinner as we go down to the middle. But the background looks great. I would consider darkening the carrot structure a little bit just to make that more of a silhouette read, so we're not getting it confused with, like, because it's tonality, it's the same as what's on top of the characters, and we want that to fall back into space. So maybe just toning that back down a little bit would help. But great progress and great job, everybody, today. I'm just realizing that this is our last critique before the sushi is submitted for the final, because Monday is the first. I'll send out some announcements this weekend. But yeah, I'm excited to see where you guys come down and with the final submissions. This is going to be a lot of fun. And we've got, and just a heads up, we've got a very exciting February lighting challenge for you. We probably won't announce it until I think it's the 4th. We have an event going on with the Foundry, and we want to announce it there. So there'll be a couple of days of a break in there, but it'll be well worth it. And I think you guys are going to be excited. So until then, everybody, happy lighting all.